Greetings and salutations, my name is Ahrtimmer and I'm here to talk with you about some channel stuff, and then later on in the show I'm gonna talk about runes. This is gonna be a quick video, because it's just a chat. First of all, this channel has finally, it's not really finally, it's not been on that long, but the new channel has been approved for monetization by YouTube, but to avoid a repeat of the prior performance where that right was, or privilege rather, was taken from me, I am going to avoid answering YouTube comments. I will still read them all, but because to answer them I actually have to go to the video, and that, of course, watches the ad. I was generating my own ads, which is a big no-no. You're not supposed to do that, so I'm going to avoid doing that. If you want me to answer your question, it's best to send me a PM, which you can do from the Ahrtimmer page, that is the YouTube page, or alternatively, and this is what I would prefer that you do, you can go to the official Boops forums. I will link it in the description below. This is a forum that myself and two friends have created for our YouTube channels, and to just chat with fans. That's mostly what it's there for, and whilst it is a fairly new forum, there are active members, and I'm on there pretty much 24/7. Not quite. If I sleep, I turn it off, but I'm sitting there sort of lurking. I don't start many conversations, but I will join them if something happens, or if someone asks me a question. So, go there, and there you can talk about all the different builds, and you can just discuss whatever you want, and I will be able to participate in that discussion much more than I will be able to in a YouTube comments section. So yeah, that's a thing. Go do that, sign up. I'll see you there. The other thing, runes. I've been asked a lot about runes. I've been asked to put my rune pages in videos, which I've been neither here nor there on. I like the idea of adding more detail to the videos, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm nervous because my rune pages are kinda dodgy. They're just kinda slapped together based on what I thought would work. I'm not sure if they're still relevant, or if the same rules that I used when I was applying them apply now to the same extent. But we are going to talk runes, and I'm going to not tell you what a good rune page is, but tell you what my rune pages are. So let's do that. My first rune page is for AP carries. It has magic penetration marks, mana regeneration seals, cooldown reduction glyphs, and ability power quintessences. Comes out at 8.5 magic pen, 3.7 mana regen per 5, minus 6% cooldown reduction, and 15 ability power. It provides everything I want in a AP carry. I'm looking at getting a different set of seals, but I don't often buy runes because what I have is very functional, and so it's never really. I'd rather save IP for a champion than save IP to buy a bunch of runes, which may have a minor impact on the end result. What I have, I feel, is good enough, although the seals, when you look at it, it's less than 1 mana a second, so I am likely to change those out in the future. The reason I don't focus one stat is because I don't like taking something that's substandard. Each type of rune, marks, seals, or glyphs, has primary runes, where they have a larger impact than the other runes that provide the same benefit. So a magic penetration mark is better than a magic penetration seal or a magic penetration glyph. It is a primary rune. I like to diversify my rune pages by having only primaries, which means you take sort of 3 different areas and improve them. Quintessences, this of course isn't a problem. Which means that yes, you don't get as much ability power, but you're not having something that's not as good when you could have it do something else and it would be better. So yeah, you could do a pure AP rune page, and I think it works out at something like 30 AP to start with. But throwing in magic penetration, particularly early game, will have a significant impact. And if I got AP on the marks, I wouldn't be getting much at all. So it's better to look to get primarily primary runes, in my opinion. My second page. This is a page for, well, melee champions. It has crit rate on the marks. Each mark is adding about 1% critical chance. I've got mana regeneration again on the seals, because I actually don't own many seals. I've only got 3 different seal types. I've purchased the full amount, and consequently I don't have much variation there. Cooldown reduction glyphs again, so critical chance, mana regeneration, and cooldown reduction with armor penetration on the quintessences. This is for physical melee champions or physical range champions. Basically, the kind of person that you want to be spitting out damage primarily with auto attacks, hence the armor penetration and critical chance. Mana regeneration and cooldown reduction just allow for more abilities to get you a little bit more poke in. This is probably my worst rune page, if I'm perfectly honest, because half of it is focused really, really well on dealing physical damage, and the other half strengthens or helps reinforce the weaknesses of a physical champion. I usually prefer to go for things that enhance my strengths rather than reinforce my weaknesses. That is just how I generally play. My third rune page is a jungling page, and the most important thing here is armor penetration quintessences. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have armor penetration quintessences for a physical jungle champion. It makes an absurd amount of difference in your damage output. I'm not going to say you have to have it, but you're kind of being silly if you don't. Now, that is of course speaking from when I created the page when Nocturne came out. A long time ago. So, that statistic may be outdated. We also have attack speed marks, health per level seals, and mana glyphs. The attack speed is of course to get more damage out, hit the jungles more often. Most jungle champions have some sort of sustain on attacks, and so attacking more often gets them more health back. Mana, because a lot of champions in the jungle can run out of mana before they run out of health, which significantly impacts their jungle. Warwick, for instance, has massive mana problems when you don't have a blue buff, so having 101 extra mana, that's gonna get you to last that little bit longer, get that extra camp down before you die. Or not die, return to base. Let's try that. And health per level, because getting health is nice, but flat health doesn't really compete with the end result of health per level. And these are the seals, of course, because with health per level seals you're getting 175 extra health at level 18. That's a pretty good amount. That's... when you think of it in terms of I'm playing a champion whose base health is approximately 2,000 at level 18, you're adding an extra 10%. Worth looking into. Fourth page. This is specifically a non-mana user page. It has been used on Renekton. I'm looking at creating a separate non-mana page for non-mana casters, but for now this is what I've got for non-mana using champions. It has crit rate, although it also has critical damage. I'm looking at buying a full set of critical damage runes at the minute. These are marks for primary, but I don't have the last two I need, so I have 2 runes for critical chance sitting there. I also have health per level on the seals, cooldown reduction on the glyphs, because if you don't have mana you want to be pumping out abilities as often as they come about, and cooldown lets them out more often, and movement speed quintessences, simply because back when I was first buying runes, back when I bought my first set of quintessences, getting boots first wasn't always the done thing, and I would get boots first and have movement speed quintessences, giving me a massive movement speed advantage in the early game. Like, it is absurd the difference that 4.5% plus boots would have made back then. However, nowadays movement speed is less of a big deal and everyone goes boots first, so movement speed is good. It can mean the difference between life and death in a prolonged chase, but at 4.5% increase, that there are probably better things you could put there. Lastly, I have a ninja rune page. This is something that I feel is underrated. Quintessences are ability power, nothing particularly special there. My marks are for magic penetration, because of the ninjas I primarily play Akali, and getting more damage out is nice. Now the seals and glyphs. Seals I have energy regen per 5 second per level. And glyphs I have energy per level, to maximize the amount of my resource that I have available to me. These end at level 18 with an extra 10 energy per 5 seconds, so an extra 2 energy per second in terms of your regen, and a total of 26 more energy. That doesn't sound like a huge difference, but in a fight between 2 Akalis, the Akali who has more energy and more energy regen is using abilities more often, simply because she's got the ability to do so. And so you've got higher damage output because of that. Those are my runes. Like I said, I'm looking at getting more runes. My eventual goal is to have 9 of each primary rune, but because champions are kinda much cooler than runes, when you've got a rune page that covers most bases, yeah, that is my situation. That is how I do runes. Like I said, there's probably a million ways that I do it wrong, and some people who number crunch have probably found the most optimal builds, but I find that when it comes to runes, build what you think you need. If you find that you don't get abilities out often enough, get cooldown reduction. If you find that you don't have enough mana regeneration, or mana itself, very, very important. If you find something that you're missing, get it. Or if you find something you want more of, get that. Thank you all for watching this video. I will see you on the Boop forums. We can discuss things there. Thank you, and good night.